Back to council. Is there a motion?
I move to accept this resolution.
Is there a second?
I'd like to offer a substitute. That would be to the revised resolution from Councilmember Reeve.
Is there a second to the substitute?
I'll second it.
Is there a second? Is there further discussion?
I have a few comments.
Councilmember Reeve?
First of all, I think this was a good discussion. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable at times. I think the last speaker said it best. Half the people are going to be unhappy no matter what. And it does put us in a difficult, challenging situation. On the other hand, I also think this dialogue is important to have these discussions.
Yes.
On important issues. I have family members who've immigrated to this country. In fact, I am actually an immigration attorney, for what it's worth. And I'm a strong advocate of lawful immigration. What's interesting, though, is I've witnessed frustration from lawful immigrants to this country, and even at times resentment towards people that have not come here lawfully and have come here illegally. I've had someone recently say to me, why should I fill out forms for my family members that come here and wait 7 years when I can just bring them to Mexico, cross the border, and once they step on soil, they basically can just stay here until hopefully some hypothetical amnesty comes about. And I really don't have an answer for it.
Yeah.
Other than this is a better way to do it, but at least I wanted just to convey that, to express the frustration that exists, okay, from that community. But one thing I think it's important to say, for me, for tonight's discussion, is that, again, for me and speaking for myself, this isn't about immigration. This is about Senate Bill 54.
Right.
It's not for me. It's not for me about immigration. It's not about a debate about DACA. It's not about a debate about a path to citizenship or comprehensive immigration reform. Those are important discussions as a country that we need to have. For me, SB54 is about public safety. Yes, I read the bill.
Yeah.
It doesn't serve any community except one: illegal alien perpetrators of crime.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Ironically, SB54 even endangers the illegal alien residents
Themselves.
of our community.
Yes, they do.
So I do support the repeal of SB54. I think it's a horrendous policy. However, it's already been a motion and a second. I do support the alternative resolution that I provided to the council. I believe it's cleaner, more accurate, and it's a little stronger. So those complete my comments, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Does anyone else have comments?
How about the mayor?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and also just a clarification. My sense of the amended version is just it takes the edge off attesting to the notion that it's unconstitutional, takes a little of the speculation out of that. That'll be determined presumably by the courts. Just a couple of comments. I'm really not a fan of symbolic votes, which is what this largely is. But I think in this case, it's a fairly important one. I want to start by thanking everybody tonight. I think for an issue where the passion runs so high around this, it was actually fairly thoughtful dialogue. Both sides were presented without, I thought, a lot of uncivilized behavior, which of course our mayor would not have tolerated. But I mean, it really, for an issue that where the emotions run so deep, I don't know how other cities have been handling this debate, but I thought here in San Juan Capistrano, we handled it in a fairly proud way this evening. I want to remind everyone that, you know, and there were some strong words thrown around here and there, but you know, we're all part of the human race, and I would suggest that if we got shut down tonight by an earthquake and we were all in great peril, we'd all be helping each other just like brothers and sisters, and that's the common denominator, and I think it was largely reflected tonight throughout. It's just a very, very tough issue, and I would submit that any time we make laws in the gray zone, we end up with a tough and often disingenuous system.
Yep.
A couple of weeks ago, I had somebody comment to me that the problem with the cannabis or the legalized marijuana issue is we've got to fix the banking problem. We've got to fix the banking problem. Well, the banking is not the problem. Forget how you feel about the issue. Banking is not the problem. We have to be banked by a federal system, insured by a federal system, and currently our state is at odds with the federal government
Yes.
as it regards legalized marijuana. If you want to fix it, work to take it off the controlled substance list. I'm not a fan of a lot of laws, but when we make them, they have to be respected and they have to be enforced. We can't be an open border society. The demand from our southern border is simply too great. There are countries that are full of natural resources and beautiful, faith-filled, well-intentioned, hard-working people that are suffering down there, and it's awful. But in our country, you've got the great American dream opportunity for you, but if you fall short of it, you've got a social services system that'll give you 3 times the standard of living of what you left behind. That's just a reality. That creates a tremendous, tremendous demand, an understandable demand. We had a woman here tonight who said, you know, if her children were in that situation, she would do what she could. Who wouldn't? But our system is full of a disingenuous component to it. Gentlemen touched on it tonight, and we brought in cheap labor, looked the other way because we knew they were here illegally. Maybe put their kids in a tough set of circumstances, and other kids going to have this cloud hanging over their head. When we don't enforce our laws, we get into trouble. It just makes matters worse. So now the state, in its infinite wisdom, has decided to throw their hand up and say, forget everything you've heard from your network of smugglers and everybody else that say, don't even try to get to the U.S. Our state's thrown up a flag and said, if you can get here, you'll be okay. And that's the ultimate disingenuous statement that's going to hurt people, hurt them, because this administration and this president are not going to sit still on this issue. So in this case, this symbolic vote, where communities who are listening to sheriffs who are pushing back, I spent time with Sheriff Hutchins last week. It's a cost issue, it's a law enforcement safety issue, and it's a crime fighting issue. And I have to listen to her. She's been our sheriff for years. She's been a good sheriff. I mean, Sacramento just can't keep doing this.
Right.
We have 37 lawsuits filed against the federal government from Sacramento. That's just absurd at a glance. And Sacramento is at this point off the rails. And in this case, it's going to hurt people it was hoping to, I presume, hoping to help. Women, children. There's 200 to 400 people that die around that border every year. Die in the desert, die in the back of vans. That's not helping them. So this SB54 is in the gray zone. It is probably unconstitutional. All we can do as cities and towns that are largely subdivisions of the state is try to make a statement and say, hey, Sacramento, stop putting us in these situations. Stop hurting people you're intending to help. You're not helping anybody. And I'll vote yes tonight, and maybe I'll upset half the room, but we have to send some kind of message. It's all we have in this case. Thank you.
Are there further comments? Councilmember Ferguson?
I echo the sentiments of my fellow council members, and especially that I really do appreciate all of the people that have bothered to come here and bothered to state how they think and how they feel. and on both sides of the issue. I know that it's heartfelt in both directions, but I do know that this is not about hurting immigrant communities. This is about whether or not we have laws and whether or not the Constitution means something. And to me, the Constitution does mean something. And if it does,
Yes.
this law is against that, and we just can't support it. So perhaps there'll be another law that will support the Constitution and the communities, and that would be better for all of us. So I'll be voting for this.
Are there further comments?
Oh, gosh.
I do have comments, and
Of course.
as mayor of the city of San Juan Capistrano, I'd like to thank all the residents of San Juan Capistrano who spoke today. It's been quite a change. Someone mentioned it, described it in a certain way. I would say that talking politics, because there was a lot said, I think I have that authority today. This is why the Republican Party is a minor party in the most important state of California, because of short-term political gain. And I think that's unfortunate, because I think the Republican Party has a lot to offer this state. I would say that as mayor, I'm mayor of everyone who calls San Juan Capistrano home, regardless of their legal status. That is not my concern.
He's a Democrat.
And I work for everybody that calls San Juan Capistrano home, and I think that's important for everyone to know, and I think that's an important statement. I wish I would have heard that years ago from our mayor, but those are my statements. I will not be supporting this. I think this is an appropriate topic for candidate Marriott. I don't think it's an appropriate issue for the city of San Juan Capistrano. I think it's an issue that's beyond our agency, and I think that this is getting out of the way of what city business is actually about. I mean, I could bring up things every council meeting that have nothing to do with the city business, which I actually may do now. Are there further comments?
Go for it. It's a free country.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no.
Aye.
4-1 with Mayor Farias opposed.
Yeah.
We will take a 3-minute break.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
4-1.
There you go. We at least know 4 city council members have doors and they lock them at night. Okay. Yeah. Here we go.
Yes.
USA. 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 All right.
USA.
There you go. One rule of law, one nation under God. I guess half the people will be angry with us. That's okay. They lost.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.